life is encroaching upon you, we'll do that. Okay.
Oh no! I
Feel like
lost
you're
my
being
feed.
watched all the time. There you go. Yeah. Maybe.
Okay, hold on. I think we might be live. We could
Oh, I
very
hope not.
potentially be live right now. No, I think we might be. Okay.
Seriously.
There's something wrong. Something's wrong. We are live, by the way.
Get your act together, Liz Dawn.
Together.
All right, dear. What do you want to do?
I shouldn't be saying that. Let me make sure that we're live in all the right places. Yes, we are. Sorry, all I see is a picture of our faces up very close to the screen.
Excellent.
Okay,
Good to be
here
with
we
you.
go. All right, let's get serious. If anybody's here, please say hello. Say hello to us because we like being said hello to. And you can tell us where you're located. Okay, everyone, drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Liz Dawn, and I'm with Celebrate Your Life Events for the past 29 years. And next to me, wait a minute, this way. Next to me is the fabulous, the best-selling author of The Energy Code and her amazing podcast, The Art of Awakening, the fabulous, the wonderful, the heartfelt, the compassionate, kind, and lovely Dr. Sue Morter. Yay!
Dawn, you are a crazy woman, and I love you. You're crazy, and I love you. I'm worried about me, but I love you.
I'm my own speaker. I'm my own audience.
You're a one-woman show, including the audience.
Yes. I'm a one-woman show. I don't need somebody to applaud me. I can applaud ourselves. Yay! Okay, good evening from Denmark, from Cherry Valley, California, from Indiana. Emily and Christy and Suzanne, so good to see you here. Dr. Sue, can you see the comments?
I cannot. How do I do that?
Okay, so over to the right of your screen, you will see right upper part of your screen. It says comments. Click on comments.
I'm with you.
And this is terrible to look at yourself like here. The hair's a little frizzy. Here we go.
Hello from Indiana, Emily Loggle. Hello,
Crystal in Silverton, Oregon. I thought it was Silverton, Colorado. There's Silverton, Colorado? There is one. Yeah, I thought so. Margie, hi. Okay, so we're going to talk today. So, Michael loves you. Wait, here, I have to put this on the screen. Michael Timothy Dugan says, Dr. Sue, I love you.
Oh, Michael, how sweet. I'll have that.
Yeah.
I'm feeling your love. Yeah.
Let's spread the love around, kindness, and all those fabulous things. Okay, so shall we discuss life? Let's talk about life.
Okay.
Who's feeling, just for those of you that are joining us today, who's feeling a little bit, by the way, we're live in many different places right now. We're live on several pages on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. So wherever you're tuning in from, I can see all of the comments. So you might only see one or two comments, but I'm seeing all of them on the back end of the software that we're using. We all love you, says Crystal. Jessie is here too. Fantastic. Well, we've got some fun things to talk about, and we've got a really, really great announcement towards the end. So stick around. So lots of life happening in the world, right?
Lots of life is happening.
Yeah. And one of the things that I love many things about your work, but I love it when you say, when we get splatted, when the splat happens, because it's such a perfect adjective for when
gets overwhelming. Yeah. We just get short-circuited, stymied. Yeah.
Exactly. Stymied. Yeah, Michael, I'm feeling it too. So I'm hearing this a lot lately, and I'm sure you are too, Dr. Sue, when you hear people say, what's happening? What's the craziness? And how do we navigate this? not just with what's going on politically in the world, but what's going on energetically and personally and professionally in our lives. So, what do we do? What do we do?
One of the most helpful things I think that we can do in an instant is there's some physical things that we can do to slow our minds down, because our minds are trying to figure out what is familiar, where's my safety zone, where's my familiar realm, what do I hold on to, how do I know things are going to be okay, this isn't making sense, or I just feel in an uncomfortable, unfamiliar. It's really unfamiliar. If we can equate it with unfamiliar instead of uncomfortable, it will actually allow the subconscious to become curious instead of become protective. So if I'm saying I'm uncomfortable, the nervous system starts to protect. It starts to charge forward in a guarded manner, or hide, one of the two. And if we just say that it's unfamiliar to me, it actually sends a signal to the subconscious that says, just become curious, just inquire, lean in, take a look, see what's happening. So there's that. And some physical things that we can do, of course, are to begin breathing slower and lower. Breathe slower and lower. Breathe slower, slow down your breath, take a longer deep inhale and a longer exhale, and it automatically will move you into more of an alpha frequency, which allows you to then think more clearly and to be present. And really, presence is the key. And also to breathe lower, meaning don't breathe in your chest and don't even breathe at the stomach level of your heart. Breathe below your navel. Draw the breath down into your body, because when you do these things, it again contributes to you creating more space in between your thoughts. When you slow your breath, you slow the mind. When you slow the mind, you allow more of your wisdom to rise up between those thoughts that become incessant when we get uncomfortable, we get afraid. So, all that's happening right now is that we are evolving in rapid time. We're moving beyond space and time into animating our quantum self. And any birth comes through the birth canal, and it's uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar. And so if we just allow it to become a new adventure, the discomfort begins to become an impetus for alertness and being more lucid in your surroundings and being present with what is actually happening, not what we're afraid is going to happen, but what is actually happening right now. Am I okay in this moment? As a matter of fact, I am. I might be worried about tomorrow, but am I okay in this moment right now? We bring ourselves back to the present in that way. It automatically starts to set a different message, send a different message into the subconscious, which is ultimately in charge of our healing and our well-being and our creative genius coming through. And so there are many ways that we can establish that by simple dispositions with the mind, actions so simple as breathing deeper and slower in the body and leaning back against our own spine, not leaning back against your chair, but leaning back against your own spine, like sitting down inside of yourself. Being comfortable in your own skin can be created. You can generate the feeling of being comfortable in your own skin, and then everything starts to move in a different direction. Many things we can do to pull ourselves back from the splat. Those are a few. Another one is to keep your attention on you. To keep your attention on you instead of on other. There's this thing called subject, object, subject. Stay on subject. Stay on the self. Because when we pay attention to what I need to do inside my own little egg here, when I pay attention to what I have control over is what's on the inside of this little egg around me. And when I start trying to control other people or circumstances or large numbers of people, we get into trouble and we lose our power altogether. We hand it off to other instead of being on self, where we're in the driver's seat of our lives. So simple things like that can make a huge difference. Many, many more. We'll see where the conversation wants to go. But
love that. Just the beginning of that, of this, because I started to slowly breathe as we were talking. I'm like, okay, so, and I know I saw my chest raise, and I know it's got to be lower, right? And I love that about changing the language, because the language, do you believe that? And yes, Crystal, go ahead and put a question in the comments. That would be great, and I can ask Dr. Sue. But I believe, for me at least, when I change my thoughts, Because if I'm thinking I'm uncomfortable, well, I'm going to be uncomfortable, right? If I change that thought to, okay, it's unfamiliar, and be in a state of curiosity, it changes the total energy of what's happening around me and what's happening internally. Can you all resonate with that? Does that make sense for all of you? That just by changing, if we get into anxiety, or if we get into fear or uncomfortableness, is changing that into feeling unfamiliar. It's just unfamiliar. And then it sort of brings up, all kinds of other cool things, right?
Yeah. Well, we know that to transcend our primitive brain and to activate our high brain centers where we're in charge, where we're operating as a creator in our lives instead of a reactor, we have to become curious. When we're curious, we are open. And when we're open, we're allowing this full continuum of energy that comes from the cosmos and rushes through our system and rolls forward out in front of us as this movie that we're walking into all of our every day of our lives. What happens is we begin to open so that which pours through us is not distorted by our own fears. It's not distorted by our own history and filtering it the way that we do. It's just pure. And then we get to walk into a purely potential life, a life filled with pure possibility, instead of one that is thwarted by our filling in the blank with, well, I've been hurt before. And last time I felt this way, it was terrible, and it's likely to be terrible again. We stop recreating the past based on some feeble attempt to protect ourselves from it. And that's not at all how we're supposed to be using our resources. There are so many more things that we could be doing that are much more creative.
I mean, it's like, at what point do we decide to not identify as past trauma and we identify more with present and allow ourselves to be more empowered that way?
Yeah.
I mean, I see stepping into a huger state of empowerment. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's perfect. Yes. It's like, if we spend our days looking for all the ways that you push my buttons and I protect my buttons so that you don't push them, at the end of the day, all we're good at is protecting our buttons. We're trying to keep our buttons intact. And really the purpose of our lives is to dissolve our buttons. We're not supposed to have them.
Right.
And we say, well, yeah, but I get triggered, don't trigger me. I'm triggered.
Right.
And I understand that. And there are some things that we could do to change the narrative we're not here to protect our triggers. We're not here to avoid our triggers. We're here to learn from our triggers. We're here to awaken through these very things that we keep trying to, avoid, really bury. And so as we learn to turn it over into a form of curiosity, well, why do I have that trigger? Well, actually a better question is, why do I insist on protecting that trigger? Why do I insist on keeping it here close to the chest and keeping you from triggering me, from pushing my buttons? Why am I interested in protecting them? Why don't I get curious about, well, what the heck is this trigger about? Well, it's about this trauma that I had when I was younger, and I completely understand. I mean, I've worked for decades with people in clinical settings and in group settings and one-on-one with people. I spent my whole career, my whole life really being in that. My father was the same, and I was witnessing him do this as I was a kid. So I've been observing the alternative all my life. The alternative is, let's do something about it. Let's do something with it. Let's embrace it instead of trying to get rid of it. Let's allow it to build us up and to grow us, rather than to be something that we are hiding from or protecting ourselves from, our past reproducing itself again. And we've just developed as a species that is just obsessed with our problems and trying to find the cause of my problem and fix it. Find my problems and fix them. Find my problems and fix them. And at the end of the day, all we're good at is fixing problems. And so we still don't know how to create. We don't know how to exercise our creative essence and pull it forward into life in a way that is actually embracing life, not trying to survive it. It's actually supported by life instead of beaten down by it. And it's all a mindset, just like you were saying. If you change your thoughts and change your mindset, it shifts everything. And what I love to do is teach people how to do that, not just how to change your mindset, but how to make that easy. Because the soulful self, this whole essence, the authentic self underneath the mind is sitting there waiting for us to empower it. And when we do empower it, the mind's job gets smaller and smaller. So we're not so dependent on what our mind is thinking every moment. And if our mind is worrying, it doesn't have such, we observe our mind worrying instead of being controlled and having our day ruined because our mind is hooked in to the worry. We change the game altogether as soon as we learn how to do that. So, yeah.
So I just want to mirror something back to you because I want to make sure that everybody else got it and that I got it because it's all about me. It's all about me.
It is. Everyone, it's about Liz, just so you know.
And I love what, yeah. I'm the most important person in my life. So, which is true, right? Lorna Macbeth wrote, hello from the Canary Islands. Much gratitude to you both for sharing your time and knowledge with us all. Embrace change, taking back our personal power, respond, not react, being the savior, not the victim. I do love that, being the savior, not the victim. Crystal, I think you wanted to ask a question. So if anybody wants to ask Dr. Sue any questions, go ahead and put it into, there you go. Just when I said it, there goes Crystal. Okay. So I'm going to ask the question first from Crystal, and then I'll come back to what my question was. So Crystal's asking, do you have suggestions for grounding into our bodies so we don't pull up and out when it gets dicey? Good one. Maybe it's just remembering to stay in our central channel breathing.
So beautiful, central channel breathing. You know, I love that. So belly breathing, for those of you that don't know what central channel breathing is a great place to start. Just breathing in your belly keeps you in your body. And when you breathe up in your chest, you're getting more and more uplifted and pulled up and out into your thinking realm and up into the worry and into the gamma frequencies where you're paranoid and projecting and doing all kinds of unfun things. So the idea is to stay lower. Breathing low in your belly keeps you drawn down. And then there's this practice that I teach called Mula Bandha. And you don't have to know how to pronounce it in order to do it. That's the good news. But Mula Bandha means root lock. That's just what it means. So it's about locking yourself in. It's like buckling your seatbelt. Okay. And so it is, you contract the muscles in the pelvic floor, in the perineum. Sort of like if you were going to the bathroom and you had to stop the stream instantly, you would squeeze these muscles. And it pulls you right down to the base of the central channel toward the base of the spine. Now, that might seem kind of weird, but I want you to know that the thousands and thousands of people that I have taught that to over the years come back and thank me about how it has changed their life, that they're not able to worry and get paranoid and freaked out whenever they're doing this practice because it anchors you. It locks you in. And when that happens, the reason it happens is because when we're low in the body, we're vibrating at more of our alpha frequency. And as such, it slows the mind and allows us to think more accurately and precisely and to be more present. And that's really the key. If I can stay present in this moment, then I'm not off into the future or lingering in the past. I'm right here and I'm just checking in. And when I'm in the present, all of my resources come flooding forward for me to utilize them. And when I get out of my body into the future or out of my body into the past, I now don't have control of the vehicle. I'm like trying to drive the car from the hood or from the trunk, you know,
Right.
and neither is very effective. You have to get in the driver's seat. And so being present in the body physically by squeezing these muscles at the base of the spine. So if you squeeze those muscles right now, just squeeze them.
Squeeze them, everybody. Come on, squeeze.
All around the world here. God.
Like you need to tinkle and then you squeeze it. Squeeze. Okay.
And then,
is it the same for men? Is it the same for men now?
The musculature, the muscle activity is the same.
Okay.
It's right the same.
Okay.
All right. So then squeeze it with everything you've got and then relax it by 1/2. Just relax a little bit, but keep a little tone there. You could even relax a little bit more, but as long as you can keep a little tone there, enough that you could feel and your mind can feel you there, then what's happening is you're anchoring your consciousness in the root of your body. And when you do that, your consciousness now is tethered. And so your mind won't run away with thoughts because it's constantly getting this influence of a slowed wave, a slowed frequency into it. It's being influenced by a calm environment. And so even if your external environment is going crazy, if your internal environment is buckling in, then you're able to be present even when there is turbulence in the outer world, which there is a lot of right now. So it doesn't mean that you walk around with this squeezed all the time, but it means that you're squeezing it and releasing it and squeezing it and releasing it regularly throughout multiple times a day, so that you become aware of this part of your physiology. And when you become aware of that part of your physiology, it gets to contribute even when you're not actually actively thinking about it. But the energy frequencies that are housed in your rootedness start to have an influence on your processing of your day, your filter, your interpretation of the circumstances that are happening, the ideas and the thoughts that you're attracted to change. When I'm anchored in this core rooted part of my body, I'm not interested in fear. I'm not interested in getting upset, and I can't relate when something's happening that normally would pull me into it. I'm just like, I easily unattach from it. And that allows me to be present and to be solution oriented instead of caught up in the drama with my friend or with, the rest of everybody that's watching the news or doing whatever is happening. That is
gossip with Dr. Sue and go, oh my God. She's
Mulabanda, baby. That's the key.
Mulabanda. I remember many years ago when I took a workshop with you, and you talked about, the core and tightening and squeezing, and then you taught us to breathe. Well, I couldn't do that simultaneously. Do you remember that?
Yeah, right.
I could not do it at the same time. I'm very proud to say that I've mastered it now.
Sweet. It's a thing. And we just have to practice, right? We practice so many things. We practice getting upset in a flash. We practice getting caught up in the drama and the trauma. We practice remembering our worst case scenarios all the time. We practice imagining the worst possible outcome and fearing. And all we have to do is practice this in the same spare moments. Just practice. You know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I already know how to do that other stuff. I want to do something different with my life.
I know how to do the drum.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lorna's asking a question. Yeah. Lorna Macbeth, what method do you suggest when people are in freeze response, panic attacks, etc.? Mm-hmm. I would imagine it's very synonymous to what we've been talking about, but
well, it is. And when you're frozen, when you're
okay, that was very funny. Because when you said frozen, you froze. Okay, you're back again.
Just kidding.
Yeah, you were like, and when you're frozen.
Okay, so what happens is a whole part of the brain just shuts down. It's just locked in. It's digging its heels in, trying to assess and evaluate. What do I need to do to survive? What do I need to do to survive? And our creativity just goes out the window. So when our emotions rise, our logic and our presence is suppressed. They're like reciprocally inhibited. And so if we are frozen, the thing that we need to do first is go to your belly and breathe. Make your belly breathe, because when you're in that frozen state, you also hold your breath. You forget to breathe. And you can break the pattern by simply breathing in the moment. So you have to force a breath, and it's not a chest breath. And even if it accidentally is a chest breath first, that's okay. Just notice, oh my gosh, I'm breathing in my chest. And the reason you don't want to breathe in your chest on an ongoing basis is that it stimulates the actioning part of you without stimulating the wisdom part of you. And so you don't want to be in action without wisdom. So belly breathing stimulates your wisdom. Chest breathing stimulates action. So if you're in fight or flight already, or fright, you're already up here. And so you want to draw yourself lower in your body so that you activate the wisdom centers and that deep presence that is basically saying, look, don't mess with me. I've been here a long, long time. I've been doing this thing for millennia, and you're not going to pull one over my eyes again. I'm too old for that. Like, I'm billions of years old. We've been coming and going here for a long, long time. So in that, then we can breathe in the chest, and we're actioning our wisdom. But if you would accidentally breathe first up here, because most people do, because they've been living in fight or flight most of their life, it's like this. And you notice, oh my God, I just did that. And you did just a moment ago, Liz. You're like, oh, I noticed I breathed in my chest. I'm supposed to in my belly.
Right, and bringing it down.
Exhale and take your second breath from your belly. So you let it lend itself to showing you, reminding you who you are and what you're here doing. You're here to be a creative influence in the world, not to be affected by it. But people aren't grounded, and so they don't know that. They're looking for something to save them, when in truth, we are the presence that came here to make this place better than we found it, to evolve human consciousness.
I feel like everybody needs to write that whole passage down. If you get nothing else from this, it's the breathing and saying to yourself that mantra, I'm a creative influence. I came here. I've been here millions of years.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. It's, you know, what that message was just beautiful. And you can go back and watch the recording of this and actually take that down. There are certain things that I know when I get into that, like panic space, there are certain messages that really are very, very helpful for me. I'm a creative influence. I came here to do other things, breathing in the belly, you know, bringing it down, central channel breathing, and hearing your voice. We all need to have a little Dr. Sue in our pocket. Her podcast, your podcast is perfect.
Yes,
Dr. Sue in our pocket, right? Dr. Sue in your pocket. Okay, so I'm going to pivot just a second. So for those of you who are loving this conversation, and how many of you are loving this conversation, there's a bunch of you here, and I'm sure you are. Give us a thumbs up or a yes. If you would like to continue this conversation, Dr. Sue is going to be speaking at an event. This is a live in-person event, live in-person event in January. And along with Dr. Sue here, I'll go ahead and share my screen so you can all see this. Along with Dr. Sue will be Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton. Oops, let's go up here. Anita Morjani. So the four of them, this is the first time that the four of them have come together for this unprecedented event on January 16 through 19. So it's a fantastic way to start your new year. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. The URL is across the screen, but it's also right here. It's soul.celebrateyourlife.com, soul.celebrateyourlife.com. And did you want to share anything about this, Dr. Sue, about how fantastic it's going to be?
I'm so excited about doing this. I was just speaking with Greg the other night, and we were talking about how we're looking forward to being able to share what we're both into right now, sort of cutting edge, sort of some of our latest stuff. I know that Greg's coming out with a new book, and I'm writing a second book right now as well. And it's very, they're in an alignment that is like second to none. And Bruce has been a longtime family friend, and he is, of course, just an extraordinary contribution to our world of understanding that we are empowered beyond our beliefs. And I couldn't agree more. And Anita is a dear friend I'm going to be seeing in a couple of weeks. Just before the event, and we're very much looking forward to sharing and getting all primed up about it too. So this is like good friends coming together to share a message that has brought us together as friends, and to come together for you in this perfect time of the year when everything's renewing and we're starting again, and everybody's lining up to, okay, how do I want to approach life, this year around the sun? It proves to be an amazing combination of science and spirituality and practicality and the wisdom. Here's what I love about it: the wisdom to apply the science that we have become aware of. The new science has been dishing out to us the fact that you're a creator of your life, like it or not, you're creating it. And so we want to get good at creating one that we love. And so I plan on bringing a lot of wisdom pieces to the mix that allow us practical application, so that we walk away knowing who we are and how we're going to go about infusing that into our decisions, into our lives, into our dynamics, in our relationships, and in our self-thoughts, and what goes on in between, these ears and underneath our skin. and learning how to listen to the true cosmic intelligence that is pouring through us every day, and to follow that and lead a life that is based on our deep truth and what is meant to be for us. And so on top of that, we get to play with you, Liz. So that just can't be any better. It couldn't be any better.
Well, and one of the things, and for those of you who've never been to a Celebrate Your Life event, I've been doing this. 2025 will be our 30th anniversary. And what I love about these programs, and good morning from Thailand, Barb Nyman. It's what's really powerful about being there together in person. You take a respite from your everyday life. You leave everything in the background and you come and you're basically cocooned with all of these 4 amazing game changers. These, I believe, are 4 of the most brilliant minds of science and spirituality in the world today. And so I'm super honored that we could get this together. This took us about 2 years to get these dates together at the same place, at the same time, same location, right? Yes. So it's not easy getting these 4 because they've all got very, very busy schedules. So once again, let me just show that really quickly. So for those of you who just joined us, we are doing this event January 16th through the 19th. Of next year with Dr. Sue Morter, Bruce Lipton, Anita Morjani, and Greg Bradens. And this is truly a powerful, powerful convergence of wisdom. So I know that there it is, unprecedented a convergence of wisdom. See? I told you. So come join us. This is really a once in a lifetime opportunity to have all 4 of them together in one place at one time. The URL again is soul.celebrateyourlife.com. I've got it right across the screen here. And if you have any questions, our phone number is on there. You can call our office or email us. So if you have any questions, we're here to serve you and be supportive of whatever you need to be able to come be with us.
I heard that it's almost sold out. Is that right? Or did I hear that wrong?
Well, there's one section that's completely sold out that we can't fit anybody else in.
I knew something
it's
was
available online. Okay, Michael, I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser. Okay, I shouldn't be doing this, but as of Friday, we've all made the decision to open it up for live stream. So it's not on the website yet, but it will be there on Friday. So make sure and check back on the 20th, and we will be doing live stream on it, which we normally don't like doing, because there's nothing like being in the space, but we've done it before and it was super successful. And I'm in and out being the host of the live stream and making sure that there's a lot of interaction. But for sure, if you can be there in person, try and make that happen, because it's super powerful being in the presence of Dr. Sue and Dr. Bruce and Greg and Anita. It's so amazing. So yeah, that's it.
Yes. Yeah. If you can be in the room, you definitely want to do that. We're going to be doing all kinds of fabulous things, and we will wrap our arms around you no matter where you are in the world, if it's just not possible for you to get there physically.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But don't tell anybody. That's not until Friday.
Okay.
Just announce it on the internet. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Sue, stay right there. Thank you all so much for joining us. Such a blessing to be able to share this time with you. And come be with us. Come meet us in person. I would love that.
Absolutely. Look forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care.